can all live in peace, because the thing is, the officials are here to protect and to serve, and that should extend to everyone, even people visiting the city of Richmond, not just the residents here, but I visit Richmond. I have relatives. And so, I want to be protected when I come here. I want to be protected when I go to any city. So if you guys can just, work with us, we really appreciate this meeting, and we really thank you for your time.
My question is was it the gentleman that was on the call the last time, was it some kind of, he was an MD?
Dr. Hall.
Is he on the line today?
See, what's happening is they felt there was a short notice for them.
Okay.
And I say, any opportunity we get, we jump on it, because it's a life-threatening situation. Okay. But we do have people on the phone, and I want Joseph to be speaking as well. Derek, are you there? Gloria and Dorothy, are you there?
Yes. Yes, I am.
Okay. Derek, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Okay, Derek, I want you to go ahead and speak briefly about freedom from COVID harassment, and then Gloria, and then Dorothy, and then we'll go around, and then we'll do whatever it is, because we understand people have other engagements of attending. So go ahead, Derek, and introduce yourself and talk about some of the things that have been so challenging, and who are the people you went to try to get some help within the government system.
Okay, I have a lot of noise here right now, but I'm Director of Freedom from COVID Harassment and Surveillance. We're a victim organization. We have nearly 3,000 victims of organized stalking and remote electronic assault that are nationwide. We have victims in over 200 major cities in the U.S. who are dealing with the same situation that those in Richmond are dealing with. The situation that we have found is that Congress is not in a position to address our issues, and neither are they at the state level. We have found that the best place to start addressing the issues that face our communities are within the communities, at the community level where people live. And this is what we are starting to do nowadays, because these are the people that live around us, those that can help us. The police departments, if we can align them with our issues, I feel that they can be of great help to those who are being victimized by these technologies. This is criminal activity. What we are trying to do is bring this to the awareness of local officials so that they can also recognize this as criminal activity and address this situation appropriately. We are looking for ways to find, as any criminal activity, find the perpetrators and hopefully get them arrested or at least stop their activities. So this is our goals.
Okay. Right. Thank you.
Okay, Gloria, could you go ahead and talk about when you first was attacked, how important it was to have family supporting you during this atrocity?
Yes, when I was first attacked, I had no idea what was going on. And it literally scared the hell out of me. I was frightened. It's almost 24/7. When I walked out of my house, my insides were shaking. But I still had to work every day. I had a housekeeping service. And I would go to work. I told my children that this odd thing is happening. And I don't know what it is. And they didn't know how to accept it until one day my son told a friend of his, he said, "Man, my mom keeps talking about something's hitting her. And I can't see anything, and she still goes to work." So his friend told him, he said, "Has your mother always been there for you?" He said, "Yeah, she's always a good mom." He said, "Well, then you should believe your mother." And he was getting ready to go to California. He lives out there now. And he said to me, I said to him, I was getting ready to go to work, I said, "Son, please, before you go to California, go on that internet. Help me find out what's going on. Something is happening to me. I know it's not the inside of me. Some outside force is hitting me, and I can't see it. I don't understand it. And he got on the computer. When I came home that afternoon, I only worked half a day. He said, Mom, you have to get this book. It was by Dr. John Hall, A New Breed Satellite Terrorism in America. And from there, I found freedom. And
I did too.
That was a great help because it was like a relief that and then at that point I thought, well, now I can go to the police and say this or that. No, you cannot. I don't call first responders for nothing. I don't go to the doctors, not even for those checkups, nothing. I do not get well in that community because they don't hear you. I think they're under telepathy not to hear what you're saying. And they will always put on your paper that you have a delusional disorder.
Yes.
Before I work every day. I've had a housekeeping service close to 25 years. I have an excellent reference. The Creator blessed me to go to work every day throughout all that I've gone through and going through. The only time something happened to me was last year. Amy and her mom came out, and they microwaved my stomach because before I knew it, my stomach had blown up as if I was 8 months pregnant. And then it was very sour, and I had diarrhea, severe diarrhea. And I just laid around. That's all I could do that day. But I knew I was not ill. I knew that. I knew this was being remotely done to me. I rolled with it. The next day, I got up and went to work. When I received a call from Amy Anderson, it was a cold call one day, just middle of the afternoon. She said, I've heard you on Freedom. I said, yeah, I recognize your voice. She told me, the first thing she said, it's not the people around you. Start learning the technology. And I'm thinking, technology? You do think, because every time I got an electronic hit to my head, someone would have just stuck their hand in their pocket, and the timing was so perfect that I felt they had something in their pocket that they hit me with. I was angry for a lot of the time. A lot of times I stayed by myself. I lived by myself, but I wanted to be by myself.
Okay, somebody else.
Because no one, they would call you, well, why don't you take some medication? And I would just tell them, you go to hell and hang up. I was angry. I was bitter because you go to the police, you go to a doctor. And when I went to the hospital, I got hit with what appeared to be a light. I'm laying in my bed. I went to the hospital. Just like that, they straitjacked and 302'd me. That's what it's called in this state, 302. I was in a mental hospital. They tried to keep me there for 20 days. Fortunately, an African-American social worker saw me, and she came and they told me that the social worker wants to see you, so I went to her office. She said, I've looked at you for the last 15 minutes. She said, I didn't know you were a patient. I thought you were a doctor learning the training or something. Or what are you doing here? And I explained to her, I said, there is some outside force that is tampering with my body. And I can't smell it, feel it, hear it, touch it. And I can't even see where it's coming from.
You can feel it, though.
I said, there's nothing inside of my head. So we spoke for a while, and they, like I said, they tried to keep me 20 days. I was there 8 days, and they wanted me on Risperdal. I said, I don't take medication. Well, if they felt that I was going to take it, I would put it in my mouth, walk down the hall, and spit it out in the toilet. I did that every day. So they told me the doctor was going to come in and talk to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, well, maybe I should take one the night before. By the time I wake up in the morning, it will have worn off. Little did I know, that's when it kicked in. In the morning, I could almost had to pick my feet up to walk around. You slide. This Risperdal, it's horrid. They should take it off the market.
Mm-hmm.
And they wanted me to take it for 20 days. I told my daughter, if I had left there taking that for 20 days, I would have walked out of those doors like a zombie.
Mm.
The doctor told me, oh, you were screaming and yelling when you came in here, and look at you now, so calm.
Docile.
And he said to me, so I said to him, I guess it's the medication. He said, yes, probably. Now, I challenged him. I said, now, in a facility such as this, there's cameras all over the place. Show me how I behave. Go ahead, show me. And he, I don't know. He could not. Because I did not carry on. I knew this is some kind of mistake. So we're just going to ride this down until they figure the mistake out. I'm going to go home. 8 days later. So when Amy gave me that information, then I started looking up the technology and studying and figuring out, oh, this is how it works. So I totally ignore the people, as they say, the ground truth. And that does not bother me. I feel at this time I'm getting my life back because of the information I received from Amy Anderson. And from that day to this one, I am still making discoveries about this technology. It is sick, it is wicked, satanic, you name it. It's not supposed to be here.
Thank
and
you,
I just want to thank Freedom and Amy and Ms. Beckles. You're a hero, heroine to me, and I haven't even met you. But Amy has told me of all the good work you have done. We need more people like that. Life should not be like this. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And this is Captain Mark Gagan. He's here to support us too.
Wonderful. Well, I'll be in Richmond next Tuesday.
Okay.
Okay. Dorothy.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Dorothy Mackey, Vice Mayor Beckles, and is it Captain Kagan?
Kagan with a G.
Thank you. Really quickly, just want to give you a brief overview of my background. I was law enforcement, a political science degree, a master's in public administration, and a contract negotiation. I was a planner 3 for Arizona's Top Efficiency 4, which is the largest anti-terrorism exercise, 2005 to 2007. I worked for FEMA and Homeland Security as a planner dealing with resources to different agencies, did Y2K planning and program manager for software, medical, and the banking industries. I was a United States Air Force captain, both in contract negotiations, human resource, and biological decontamination. For 6.5 years, I was a commander, which held people accountable for criminal abuse of the laws. And I've done evacuation plans. To those points, let me be very specific. I witnessed a great deal of these same types of abuses while I was inside the military. And ultimately, what this does to any type of people is it first denies them safety, which is a critical component of a healthy system that respects people, that holds people accountable for crimes and abuse. It denies these individuals justice, restoration, and actually resolutions to what is occurring to them. If you go to the organizational website, cchr.org, there is a documentary called The Hidden Enemy. It succinctly describes 2 camps of psychology and mental health that is currently and has been going on since the 1940s in America. The one camp is that which criminally violates individuals from the youngest among us, children, into their adulthood, and then forces them, these people who have been criminally violated, onto medication rather than hold accountable those people who've been abused.
Yes.
In the documentary, The Hidden Enemy, Dr. Colin Ross, who is a psychiatrist and a good guy, who actually has the Ross Institute in California, Dallas, Texas, and Michigan, he discovered 15,000 pages of medical journal research that not only describes in detail these inhumane abuses of human beings, but the outcomes of what they're doing to them. What part of this is, and what it does, is The Hidden Enemy actually is also disclosing the good guys in the mental health psychology, as well as putting people, the pharmaceutical industry that is putting people on these drugs when in fact the behaviors that have been breaking them down deliberately is causing these problems. So they're emotionally damaged, not mentally ill. And there's a big difference between these two fields. When you look, even for instance, and there's a great deal of history behind this, I've got a great deal of it mapped out. I would be willing to send it to you, Mayor Beckles, if you would like. But part of this even goes to the issue of, in the 1970s, when the mafia was brought down in America, before they had the RICO statutes, the United States Justice Department said that they used the term unlimited liability. They recognized that these organized criminal systems were networked in such a deliberate, malicious, and vicious fashion that they were coupled together. And so that's where they came up with unlimited liability. The same applies to these systems. Now, here are the four tenets of these systems. They are broken up into sexual abuse, psychological, physical, and technological abuses. Their goals are to cause fear, terror, confusion, and to take control of the person. The intentionalness of it, the deliberateness of it, is that through this evidence-less technology being used, and the gang stalking, which is much like flash mobbing, or in fact a combination of ongoing brutalization, it is to give those systems that are breaking down human beings plausible deniability from ever being held accountable for their actions. Again, as I said, there's a great deal of history to this, and just as examples, parts of that history, the American government brought over from Germany the Hitler-Himmler-Eichmann study, which took place in the 1930s. It allowed for the deliberate, severe sexual, physical, and psychological abuse, also using technological abuse, of children under the age of 5. The reason why this was done is because they found that there was some successes that they perceived as successes that occurred to these children. That included that the children were highly suggestible, they were easily led, the children would actually be very literal in their understanding. They were 44 times the visual acuity, so they were great if they wanted to use them as adults for snipers. They typically had photographic memories, increased strength, and agility. Now, this was things that would occur in this country, but here is how the children, as they grew up, would in fact be used. Please consider that this is also, in the last 60 years, we've seen a huge rise in the disappearance of children, to include even human sexual slavery and trafficking systems. They can be used as sex slaves, sexual entertainers, assassins, suicide bombers, snipers, spies, and puppets in religion, industries, and in government as well. Because the dramatic and intentional abuse that is repeated ongoingly causes the individual victim to not remember a significant crime that's happened to him, such as like rape, It's followed by repeated patterns of ongoing abuse by groups of people that are involved in the network. The negative impacts and what this causes to the abuses or to the abused is, as I said, it causes ongoing trauma. It breaks down the individual's ability to articulate, to be logical, to have critical thinking, their reasoning. Their short-term memory and long-term memory is impaired. Both math and sciences skilled as well as reading comprehension is impacted. The reasons why these are important is because when you have children or young adults who have had these type of traumas happen to them, they're often more likely to watch video games and things where there's a great deal of subliminal and sexual and violence interconnectivity. So they're getting that kind of stimulus rather than the ability also to be able to research and go backwards, reverse engineering what's happened to them. And through the math and sciences, they're able to find out about this technology and actually help to come out of it. In addition, it steals their joy, their hope. It destroys good and decent people to be used and thrown away as patsies and often are used in crimes. There's another component which is called neuro-linguistic programming. And please know that sadly the core curriculum that are currently in our school systems is a compressed version of a lot of this that's going on. Neuro-linguistic programming, also known as NLP, has a baseline. And what it actually does is it desensitizes or hypersensitizes a victim using words and symbols in combinations of keys, codes, triggers, tones, or hand signals, which can then, with these organized criminal trauma networks, can manipulate, coerce, and force a child throughout their life, and that they're not fully aware of what's happened to them because, as these criminal enterprises say, it's like moving a ball down a football field. Both sides are playing, the football is the child or the targeted victim, and both are collaborating against the child and or the victim. So who are the networks? These people belong to every society's socioeconomic and political group. They are selected clergy, teachers, principals, superintendents. They are bullies, peers. They are in groups such as 4-H, boy and girl groups such as Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts, teen and peer groups. They're in law enforcement. They're in the prosecutor's offices, college campuses, university professors.
Child Protective
Services. They're in every industry, military, at every level. They can also include doctors, counselors, lawyers, and any types of people. Who are the people that are typically being abused? They are often have a pattern as well. They can be people, as Miss Gloria said, that have been from good and decent families. They are families that typically would not go along with criminal abuse of any sort, would return money. Their families, as we've been seeing, often many of these families voted for John Kennedy if they're of an old enough situation. But who are the abusers? Their commonality is communistic, Nazi, KKK. They have the leanings, and there are two different types of school education in this. We have the common normal education systems. They actually train in these kind of systems. The reason I can tell you that is my grandfather belonged to these systems.